12 reasons to put Havana, Cuba on your bucket list. Whether you have read volumes of books about Cuba or just met through a few photos, Cuba has always been a country at the top of travel lists. Let's say it frankly, I'd rather not to go to Cuba. We didn't find anyone who said. Of course, there are many reasons to go to Cuba. We will now list the most important reasons for us in a concentrated manner. Whatever your reason, Cuba definitely deserves to be discovered. Let's say completely different form of management. Cuba, the country of Fidel Castro, who left the world a few years ago and wrote a period in the pages of history, is a socialist republic, as you know. And this is not a system we are familiar with, like most people in the world. People continue their lives in the houses provided by the state, with the health and education opportunities provided by the state. In fact, the food given by the state to the poorest and the richest of the country is the same. Although the lands where equality is highly valued and duly lived is a utopia for most of us, Cuba makes this dream country a reality for us. This naturally multiplies not only our quota of love, but also our desire to go and see. Happy and loving people. Well, when the blood of Caribbean people is added to the free education, free health care, equal support of the state for all people, people live happily, smiling, and being happy while in Cuba can be the easiest thing in the world. Regardless of who you are, where you come from, it is worth going to Cuba for people who sincerely smile, greet you, and even want to come and chat with you. Music and dance. Where is Cuba? Yeah, as we mentioned, Cuba is a Caribbean country. Although it is in a very different position from other Caribbean countries with its opposition to the system that dominates the world, Cuba has the same characteristics as its geography in terms of dance and music. Music and dance are very important for the people of this geography. They are almost the source of life. In these lands where no one cares about skin color, you can see street performers singing and people dancing freely day and night. This can be seen as another factor that makes Cuba utopian for us. Nostalgic cars. Those nostalgic cars that we come across when we type Cuba in the search engines are really, and there are plenty of these cars that defy the years in the country. Today's vehicles are also available in the country, but who sees the others next to those sweet American-style cars of different colors? You get into these nostalgic vehicles and you not only exceed the kilometers, but also live together with the past and the present on the streets of Cuba. Buying rum and cigars is a major reason for travel for some. Cuba's famous rum is generally used in making Cuba Libre, Pina Colada, Mojito-type cocktails. We don't know if you use tobacco products, but there are people who go to Cuba even for the country's famous cigars. They are not wrong. This is completely different culture. Which of us has not wondered about the cigars that Cubans pose together in the photographs? You will not only see these cigars in the country, but you will have all the details about the famous cigars while visiting the cigar factory. Cigars must have the stamps of the Cuban government. Those sold on the streets are fake or stolen. Be sure to pick it up from the factory or the airport. Cigars available in the various lengths, thicknesses, quality, and price. A certain humidity level is required to store cigars without drying them. Cohiba is the famous brand, and the Fidel drank from it. Monte Cristo, Romeo and Juliet, and the Particularis factory-owned brands are pretty good. Most desired place to visit. Think of a place where everyone wants to see it, so why wouldn't you want it? The desire of everyone who knows and hears Cuba, from its architecture to its people, from its lifestyle to entertainment, can be shown among the reasons that attract you here. Preserving its historical texture. When you go to Cuba, you will see that the country is still in 1950s. Yeah, you heard right. From its architecture to its cars, from its streets to its shops, almost everything is from the old times and has survived to the present day without any change. It's a very safe country. You can see many female tourists traveling along. Cubans are still friendly, natural, and warm-blooded. Hello there! Don't be surprised if you see the Cuban greeting. Sometimes people who approach you shake hands, meet, and ask questions. Then they may ask you to buy something for their child. They also give you cigarettes in exchange for money. They may also invite you to the salsa festival. In Cuba, this kind of thing is common in Havana in general. They do not have a bad purpose, except asking for money. The penalty for committing a crime is very severe, especially when it comes to tourists. Casa particularis. Since hotels in Cuba are a bit expensive, you can find a more local accommodation options such as Airbnb. At this very point, if you want to get to know Cuba's people a little better and understand the country a little better, you should definitely stay in houses called casa particularis. Casa particularis means renting a room of a Cuban family. There are some that have recently rented out all the rooms of a house, in short, converted in a hostel, but the originals are extremely enjoyable. Cuban families are very friendly and welcoming. They are also the people who will give you the best information about the city you will be staying in. When you have something on your mind, consult the family you're staying with. Renting a room at Casa Particularis is usually around 20-25 Cuban peso. An additional 5 Cuban peso is added for breakfast. It's an ideal option for those who want to have a low-budget holiday. Havana. Havana is the capital and touristic city of Cuba, with a population of more than 2 million. Havana is a cultural, artistic, touristic, historical, economic, and political center of Cuba. If you really want to understand Cuba, you need to include Havana in your Cuban itinerary. Havana can explain why Cuba has a revolutionary past, its situation in the world today, and its new future. You can see this very clearly in the streets of Old Havana, the heart of Havana. Havana is a city where you can't get enough of visiting and where you can find different beauties everywhere. You can see the interesting history and colorful display of each neighborhood in the city of Havana. Old Havana, UNESCO World Heritage Site. If you came to Cuba, you should not return without visiting Havana. If you come to Havana, Old Havana, Habana Vieja, built by the Spanish in the 16th century, Old Havana has the heart and the soul of the city. Where you go in Vieja Habana, you will find an interesting mix of Baroque and neoclassical monuments, colorful private houses with beautiful balconies, gates, and courtyards. Pedestrian-friendly neighborhood, Old Havana is also the perfect place to observe and get to know Cubans and their daily lives. UNESCO declared Old Havana a World Heritage Site in 1982. Old Havana consists of 5 large buildings, each of which has its own unique architecture and character. Plaza de Armas, Plaza Vieja, Plaza San Francisco de Asis, Plaza del Cristo, and Plaza del Cathedral are the most important buildings of the region. Cuba Plaza de la Catedral, Cathedral Square. Cuba Cathedral Square, the second most popular square in Old Havana in the Plaza de la Catedral or Cathedral Square. Lonely Planet describes this cathedral as music made of stone. Havana's incredible cathedral is in the shadow of 2 unequal towers. The facade of the Plaza de la Catedral Theater is covered with a Baroque architectural structure. You can climb one of the towers to witness the magnificent city view of Havana. The remains of Christopher Columns were kept here for many years, but were taken to the Cathedral of Seville in Spain in 19th century. The cathedral is structurally classified as the Cuban Baroque front. The interior of the cathedral is decorated with solid stone pillars and side chapels, as well as white and black marble floors. The cathedral was built in the neoclassical style. In this square, you will find beautiful murals depicting the old Spanish colonial period. There are restaurants restaurants around the cathedral where you can sit and enjoy. The picturesque bright blue painted walls around the cathedral are square, creating a truly aesthetically pleasing structure.